Hi everyone, in this video we're going to talk about Laravel Valet in a follow-up to the first video, which was about installing Composer and installing Valet. If you go to the documentation on Laravel Valet, there's lots of different commands that you can use, but essentially the park command will be what we're using the most. So the first thing you need to do is make sure that you're in the sites folder in the command line or terminal. So what I'm going to do here is press Command C, open a new terminal window. So I'm going to say cd for change directory, and then I paste this, which will paste the directory path, which I've just copied. And then I'm going to say valet park, put in my passwords. Okay, so now that it's parked in the sites folder, this means that any folder I spin up here will work as a local domain. So if I try and go to hello.test now, so the folder is hello, then we can see that it's successfully echoing out hello world because that's what I wrote in the index file. So once you've parked Valet in the sites folder, any Statamic site that you create here will work fine. There are a few things that I like to change. For example, I don't really like the .test TLD or top level domain. To me, it sounds a bit rough. I prefer something like work in progress. So what you can do is you can change the top level domain in Valet. And to do this, you type Valet TLD and then the new one, which will be WIP. And it's restarting things. So now if I go to hello.wip, this is working fine. Just as an aside note, I used to use .local. However, there are some issues around .local on Mac, particularly to do with, I think, Bonjour, which is one of the underlying protocols that macOS uses for messaging, can conflict and make things a little bit slower. So I would personally avoid .local. And the other thing to think about is to think about which domains that Statamic recognizes as developer friendly or a developer environment, because they do use this for deciding whether you're running like a local install of Statamic or whether you need a license and it's running live. So if you go to the licensing page and scroll right down to the bottom, you'll see one of the ways they decide whether it should be licensed or not is they look at the extension, and .wip is one of the domains listed as an example here. So that's another reason why I use .wip. Another thing to mention is Valet doesn't automatically create HTTPS sites, so it doesn't secure the sites automatically. That's something that you need to do on a per site basis. So as an example, if I create a folder here and call it evening, and I open up a new terminal window, cd into that, and then if you use the valet parked command, which is going to show us what's parked and what isn't, it will show us that the one I've just created, the folder I've just created, is HTTP rather than HTTPS. Just while I'm here, as a quick note, if you pull the window out slightly, because Valet will try and create this like markdown table, it makes it a lot easier to see as opposed to if you squash it in where this just looks like gobbledygook. So what we want to do is we want to make this HTTPS. It doesn't need to be HTTPS because it's only a local site. However, I find that HTTP sites tend to give this red padlock in the top left of the browser, which I don't really like. And it's just a step closer to our original production environment if we get it running on HTTPS. So making it HTTPS is as simple as saying valet secure and then the name of the directory, which is just evening. You'll be prompted for your password. And then Nginx restarts. And now if I check Valet parked, you can see this is HTTPS. One other thing worth mentioning is once you've got Valet working or parked, if you like, so I've got it parked on my sites folder now, Valet will start every time you log into macOS. So you don't need to manually park something every time, or you don't need to manually start Valet. The only thing you'll really need to do is maybe stop Valet and then start it if you're using something like MAMP, which might conflict with the hosts file. If you are running things like that, so you want to run MAMP at the same time or on the same system, then I do have an article about making sure that they don't collide with each other. If you just search the post, you'll find a link to that. That's about it for this video. We've managed to get Valet working and using Valet Park on the sites folder. Now that Valet's up and running, it tends to get a lot easier from here. I think the most difficult part is installing it, but now that we're using it, it's a lot easier to use Statamic.